Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and today we are going to talk about, again, a specific animal, what that animal kind of means to us, and whether we're going to get rid of that one or not. Because we will keep a few things, right? We are going to keep a few. We're still animal people, so I won't get rid of every single snake. But instead of having a full-blown breeding operation, I'm going to have a couple pets. That's it. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you guys something that I find kind of amusing. And that is, if somebody were to ever steal camera guy Curt's phone and go through his photos, first, never do that, because you'll probably see some things you don't want to see or shouldn't see when you do that to people, so don't. But if you did, and you scroll through there, you're going to have a lot of pictures of me like this. Because here's what happens. I'll be like, okay, Kurt, let me know when you're ready. And I'll stand here, wait for him to say, okay, go. And he goes, okay, go. Ah, shit, it was on photo. And he has to switch to the video. So somewhere, he's got 100 pictures of me like, we can almost put those flip books together through the years of Matt as he's aged and gotten older and a little bit balder, but not all the way. But it is getting a little thin up there, guys. I ain't gonna lie. Anyway, I just find that funny. He's just got all these pictures of like little Christmas cards. But let me show you the snake we're gonna talk about today. If I seem a little jacked up, I did drink a pre-workout. I promise I'm not on anything else. But man, that stuff gets you going. So here we are, right here. This is an infamous snake I'm gonna put on the table. Okay. Very, very infamous in our collection. This guy right here. So what is he? This is our first clown we ever had, right? And his name is Trouser because he's only got one eye. He was born that way. So we got him as an adult and named him Trouser, or one-eyed trouser snake. And this snake has been the absolute bane of my existence when it comes to a breeding program. I fucking hate this snake for that. I don't really hate the snake, but he was supposed to kick off our clown projects, which is, God, just been suck. So Curt really wanted to get into clown. Y'all know me, I'm not a big clown fan, still not a big clown fan. For one, the colors don't do it for me, but you brighten them up, they look good. They look good in certain combos, no denying that. But this is not my favorite gene, okay? So we originally purchased this snake and 4 het clowns. The 4 het clowns were known to be possibly het caramel, right? But they also, don't try to eat my finger. It's not food. Fingers aren't food. But we also knew he wasn't. He was supposed to be a straight clown, so we weren't worried about it. We knew we'd tell people, hey, it's a possibility, but no worries. So we bred this guy. Oh, and it took. Man, he likes the ladies. Don't you, Trouser? My trouser snake likes the ladies. It is what it is, guys. So we bred him, and sure enough, had babies the very first year. We got him to size and bred him. So, but the females we got were babies. So remember, we have years into this point in time. We're raising these 4 little babies up to get them to size to breed them. And what do our wondering eyes find? Well, something we've never seen before. I was like, what is that? And so I sent some pictures of the egg to a buddy of mine. He confirmed what we were looking at was a clown caramel, meaning Trouser here ended up being het caramel. Caramel, however you want to say it. Now, if you know your genetics in ball pythons, caramel is fucked. I don't believe in breeding caramel. Like I said, we didn't expect him to be het caramel, so we weren't worried about it, because caramel throws a lot of kinks. So that project, that moment, literally died, and he threw kinks, like all the babies in that clutch. We hit caramel like crazy. I think we had 1 normal clown that failed to thrive and didn't make it, 2 straight caramels that were kinked up bad, and 1 caramel clown that was literally so kinked and fused it was like a ball with a head that had to be put down. It was super, super sad. And so right then we made the decision that we could no longer pair him with anything that was possible het caramel, right? Because that is not who we are as breeders. And I know you're saying, well, you breed spider, blah, 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 blah. But spiders don't come out kinked and dying in pain and obvious need to be, so we don't like doing things like caramel. We don't like doing things like super black pastel. All those things with a lot higher failure rate, we try to avoid. So that threw them out of that. So then we end up picking up a few other things. Thought, well, we'll just have to get something else and go to make some other clowns that don't involve those 4 females, and we'll use those 4 females for something else. So that became the plan, right? So we bred them again. We thought, okay, now it's going to be fine. Nope. Babies came out kinked, even without full caramel. For whatever reason, this snake, if you breed him, he just doesn't throw good babies, y'all. There is something in there wrong. We were told the eye was supposed to be, and now the guy we got him from, and I'm not going to name drop, so I'm not trying to make it sound like that guy was doing something illicit or wrong, because he wasn't. The guy we got him from told us it was an incubation issue that caused the eye. But he had got him from somewhere else. He didn't produce a snake. He was upfront about that. We knew he didn't produce a snake. We knew like that he'd bought it from somewhere else. And that guy had told him, yeah, the incubation level of the spike can cause a no-eye. Well, I think, and I believe that breeder was probably telling the truth as much as he thought he was. But I think the no-eye is more like an issue with something in his genetics that are off. He's perfectly healthy. He does fine. His children do not. So this snake should never be bred again, in my personal opinion. I'm not going to sell it to anybody as a breeder because it honestly, guys, should not be bred. So he's been around here, been kind of hanging out like a mascot for all these years, just the one-eyed trouser snake because, well, it's a great joke, right? And he's a clown, so he should be making jokes. So it works out pretty well. Here's the thing. Curt, though, has kind of got a thing for this snake. Curt really likes my trouser snake. So my trouser snake is going to go home with Curt is the current plan, last I knew, unless he changes his mind. And this one will end up staying with us as a pet. Not my pet, but Curt's. Did you ever think about that, Curt? You're keeping my one-eyed trouser snake as a pet. Mm-hmm. How does that make you feel, buddy?
Good.
Good. Okay. We have a weird relationship, Curt and I. So anywho, he will not be made for sale, which I'm actually really happy about because, again, don't stick your head down there. You'll hurt yourself, you moron. Because, again, if I sell him, even if I sell him some, say, hey, don't breed him, and they may respect that, but then they could let him change hands again, and then he gets bred again, and we may be bringing babies in the world that we shouldn't. So I'm actually really happy that Curt plans on keeping the snake because I don't have to worry about it being bred and causing issues, you know. And that's just part of being ethical. Plus, he's a really sweet animal. He's super nice, kind of goofy with the one eye. You'll see him move his head funny or hold his head funny. He eats on his own. He eats live. He isn't all scarred up. He's done fine. It doesn't really affect him at all. So, you know, and again, they also use heat pits to see. So even if you take an eye away, it's going to hinder movement over here. But he can still see the heat moving. He just can't see an inanimate object moving. Like my phone, he probably couldn't see moving, but he could probably see my hand moving, if that makes sense. So actually, you probably can't see the phone because the electronics put off some heat, but something that has no temperature, he wouldn't notice on this side. But like my finger, he can see that through his heat pits. Curt, anything you want to say about the snake, or why did you fall in such love for this damn thing? Like, this has been one of your favorites, so I'm not really sure why.
Oh, here's the first clown I bought a long time ago.
And you are into clowns. You did definitely want to get a clown, didn't you? Like, and it was one you bought. That's absolutely correct. It was before we put everything in 100% together. We were still buying stuff each for the thing, and this is one that, because we've had him a long time. Like, a long time. The sad thing is, it would have been really cool had his babies been good. And I'll tell you one more story about him where all these problems I just talked about, right? But in some ways it did us a solid. And I will explain, because you're like, well, how the hell did that do you a solid? Well, because of Trouser not being a viable breeder, I had those 4 het clowns, and I had nothing to do with them. Like, nothing. And so I kind of thought, well, hell, we have this pastel lesser desert ghost we picked up, and we need to work on making some more hets, and, you know, they're doing nothing. So I threw him into a few of them, thinking, you know, we could get some het desert ghost, possible het clowns that are pastel and lesser, things like that. That is how we found out that pastel lesser desert ghost was also het cryptic, because we threw kryptons. Had Trouser actually been a good breeder, we'd have never made a krypton. We'd have never known we had that running through our collection, because we likely wouldn't have put it to anything clown. We would have been putting him to the clowns. We'd have put that stuff to other things to make more desert ghost hets, but it just kind of seemed like the way to go. So his shitty sperm did in some ways help us discover something in our collection that we had no idea on. So if you look at it from that aspect, the failures we had in this project with him led us to find something really cool. And I guess that would be the moral of this story, right? Is even when things aren't going right, and they're going wrong, and they're going bad, if you stick with it, sometimes, I'm not going to tell you every time, man, I'm going to blow rainbows and sunshine and unicorn farts out your ass, you know, but if you stick with it, a lot of times good will still come. You've got to go through some trials. You've got to go through some fires. You've got to step on your own dick before you're going to be successful at times. And that's just life, y'all. I don't care if it's snake breeding. You know, you're going to have one of your favorite snakes pass away. You're going to have a bad thing happen. I don't care who you are. If you're in it long enough, you will. And persevering and coming through on the other side of that project or whatever it is what's going to make it. And this is just a small example of that. I mean, it's not even the worst thing that's happened to us while breeding, but it's an example of what I'm talking about. And that mantra will run through your life on everything, right? It's going to happen in relationships. It's going to happen in hobbies. You know, for those that know, I kind of got pretty into boxing, you know, and Rocky said it best, right? It's not about, you know, how hard you can get or how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. It's about getting up and keeping going when things go bad. And if you're able to do that, you're going to typically find success or at least find peace. Doesn't mean you're going to be successful at everything, but you're going to know you gave it your all and be able to be proud to put a stamp on that day, on that part of your life, that if you bitched out it's because something went bad, you wouldn't be able to. So stick with it through the adversity, and sometimes you'll be rewarded. Kurt, anything else you want to add about Mr. Trouser, the one-eyed snake?
No.
All right, we'll put Trouser, the one-eyed snake, back in his bin. As you can see, he's super friendly, right? So if we were to get rid of him, he'd make somebody a hell of a pet, but I'd have to find like a kid or something, because like I say, this is definitely not something that should ever be bred. Are you going to huff at me? Like, see there, you can see it put his head so you can't see what he's going to run into. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you goodbye. Switch over to Patreon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.